I wanted to speak to you about the 20 precepts of Master Jikin Funakoshi, and I'm going to do this without an introduction, assuming thorough knowledge of Japanese. A thorough knowledge of a Japanese conceptual web, of meanings associated with martial arts in particular. So, for example, terms like Chudan or Jodan, and of course the difference between Chudan and Jodan, and other subtleties such as the differences between say defensive procedures and offensive procedures, when these procedures are in fact required. Well, what does it mean? What is the difference between defense, which is mandatory, and offense, which is actually forbidden? So we are going to see this, and other subtleties. Well, most subtleties, like the difference between say a kekomi and a kiagi in yokogeri. Well, these notions are understood. Without further introduction, I'm going to proceed to Master Jikin Funakoshi's precepts. Karate Do begins with courtesy and ends with rei. There is several translations on this one. I guess there's a different Japanese character chosen. So courtesy and rei are the notion of courtesy and the notion of rei are distinguished in the original text of Master Funakoshi, and well, I do prefer for poetic form. By all means, only for poetic form, I do prefer the translation that reads Karate Do begins and ends with rei. Okay, or alternatively, we could say Karate Do begins and ends with courtesy. So, for that is for poetic form. The Japanese text is in fact, as I said, first Karate Do begins with courtesy and ends with rei. Okay, so two quite different characters over there for courtesy, for the concepts of courtesy and rei. Okay, precept number 2. There exists no first strike in karate. Okay, so I prefer the translation that reads there exists no first attack in karate. So that is my favorite way of formulating this. However, the Japanese text, I think, reads there is no first strike in karate. Strike rather than attack. Precept number 3. Karate is an aid to justice. Okay. For poetic form, I prefer the reading that goes like Karate Do serves justice, or Karate Do stands in the service of justice. That is my favorite way of formulating this particular precept. Precept number 4. First know yourself before attempting to know others. So, a more common way of formulating this particular precept is, well, for a karateka is first to know themselves before attempting to know other people. So this should be made stronger. So in order to emphasize the idea, the path to self-knowledge in karate, and the idea that the pursuit of the art of karate do is actually the end, the objective for engaging in karate is actually knowing oneself. Okay, as it is in any esoteric system whatsoever. And well, I guess the formulation that I have encountered, well, it's similar to this one. However, it should be stressed that perhaps an exclamation mark or something. It should be stressed that this is an important precept. So by all means, the precept number 4 is highly important, because, well, it is an esoteric art, and the purpose of an esoteric art is self-knowledge. Precept number 5. Spirit first, technique second. This illustrates the idea, the idea that differentiates Shotokan Karate Do to other martial arts, and that is the idea of Kime. So spirit first, technique second. I think you understood what I just said. Precept number 6. Always be ready to release your mind. Well, this has to do with the concept of Kyai, I guess. Look, I really forgot what the translation was in the reading that I have studied when I was a junior. But in the way this is formulated over here, number 7. Precept number 7. Bad things happen out of negligence. That is the I remember this quite clearly. That was the translation that I have studied. In this particular formulation, it says accidents rather than bad things. So let's go with this. Accidents arise from negligence. So I guess this stresses the idea of mindfulness. Precept number 7, in a way, because, well, perfect attention, perfect focus, well, that and a lack of negligence, well, that is mindfulness in itself. Number 8. Do not think that karate training is only in the dojo. Roughly speaking, this is the translation that I have that I have also studied. So do not think that karate is only in the dojo. You are to be an example, right? You are to study. You are to you are to develop in a behavioristic fashion, I guess, in a fashion pertaining to behaviorism. You have to have an you have to be an example, right? I mean, and improve your karate karate expertise in everything that you do, because, well, it is a way of life, right? So I think that's another precept, but it links to that. Well, precept number 9: it's going to take your entire life to learn karate. There is no limit. So yes, karate. In other words, karate is a lifelong journey. In a poetic fashion. And then precept number 10: put your everyday living into karate, and you will find subtle secrets. Okay, you are going to find the subtleties of Shotokan karate. If what you do is put your everyday living into the practice of Shotokan karate. Precept 11: karate is like boiling water. If you do not heat it constantly, it's going to cool down. So, I mean, you are to train regularly. In the dojo where I have trained as a junior, we used to train 3 times a week, and perhaps one day in the weekends. These days we're more relaxed, and these days casual trainings happen twice a week, I guess. Precept number 12: do not think that you have to win. Think rather that you do not have to lose. Okay, so I guess this goes hand in hand with the idea that there exists no first attack. So the best we can do, and then of course it also does link with the idea that, well, as any ombusen, because where we have kata we have ombusen, of course. As any ombusen shows, we return in the same place in a way. In a way, we do return at the same spot. And I hope I was clear in what I just said. 13: victory depends on your ability to distinguish weak points from invulnerable points. So vulnerable points from invulnerable points. So, in other words, okay, so 13: victory depends on spotting weakness in the opponent. Don't think that karate is planning strategy, is studying opponent, because it is not. Karate is instant reaction, and karate is a training of intuition, and ultimately a shaping of mind in a very real sense. 14: the outcome of the battle depends on how you handle weakness and strength. Okay, so again, it goes hand in hand with the previous precept, and the precept that said that commanded you to know yourself well, know your limits, know your weaknesses, so you know where to improve. So I guess there comes a stage in one's karate training when one can assess themselves. Okay, there comes a stage where one can assess their own weaknesses, and of course, being a lifelong journey, it is not advisable to stop. And after a while, it does improve the karma. After, as in the path of the bodhisattva, after a while you become goodness. After a while, one becomes fond of this path, and well, they just don't stop. But if one is able to actually understand their own weaknesses and their own strengths, then, well, that is a huge, very, very huge advantage, because, well, they will be able to improve indefinitely. Okay, I cannot stress this idea enough. 15. Think of your opponent's hands and feet as swords. Well, this is, if the opponent's hands and feet are swords, well, it is my opponent. There's no choice. I have to fight, but I have to act very, very quick. I will have well, that's the first point that I wanted to make on this one. Well, there's no objection regarding the translation. However, if I am to abide by the rules of Shotokan karate and fight with an empty hand, and think of the opponent as having swords, well, I'll have to up my game constantly. 16. When you leave home, think that you have numerous opponents waiting for you. And okay, so in the translation from the Japanese language, there exists an addition to 16 to this precept that says that it's actually your behavior that provokes the opponent. Okay, so, and that kind of goes, well, that goes hand in hand with the idea that, well, you should not attack. Okay, there exists no first attack in karate, which is the second precept. Well, virtually that is the first precept, because respect and courtesy should be on the table at all times. 17. Beginners must master low stance and posture. Natural body positions are for the advanced. So of course you are to. Okay, so from by all means, martial arts aren't sports. You should not think as martial arts, and Shotokan karate in particular. You should not. It isn't helpful. It is not fruitful to think of Shotokan karate as a sport. It is an esoteric system. But from a sports perspective, well, you are to build muscle memory. That's what it's all about on 17, I believe. I think I've said most of what can be said on this one, but, well, something else can be said, and that is that pain is fruitful, and we have this idea in Zen Buddhism too. Zen Buddhism is is often associated with pain in one's legs. 18. Practicing a kata exactly is one thing, engaging in a real fight is another. Okay, so kata, well, we can put it more briefly. Kata is one thing, real fight is another. Well, this is a known principle. It emphasizes the difference between, well, training and fighting. Okay. And it also expresses the idea of convergence. So practiced long enough, the practice of kata itself will result in good fighting patterns. Okay, so make no mistake, kata is excellent for um, developing good fighting skills. 19. Do not forget to correctly apply strength and weakness of power, stretching and contraction of the body, and slowness and speed of techniques. Okay, so I guess this is highly advanced. This reminds me of some of the more advanced katas that I have personally seen performed. And precept number 20 is an encouragement. Always think and devise ways to live the precepts of Karate Do every day. It comes as a command, but it's an encouragement really, and I hope you can see this fact. Thank you very much.